things you should never say to an RVer. Do you have some pet peeves? What would really tick you off if someone walked up and said something to you at an RV park?
You're not a real RVer if you don't boondock, if you don't go off-grid.
If you don't own a diesel pusher. Is that true?
Yeah, for me, shake and bake in the sun. Back in the days, that was different. You wanted to look nice and awesome. Now I just feel that I look nice all the time, so I don't need to look awesome.
Oh, wait, I don't think I was supposed to laugh at that
No?
moment.
Okay.
Hey friends, RV life is all about adventure and making memories. But there's one thing for sure. There are some things you never want to say to an RVer unless you want to see the steam coming out of their ears.
That's right. Some of them might hit close to home. There's some comment that you don't want to be caught saying at an RV resort or a campground.
They can become very awkward moments. So let's jump right in. The first one that you should never, ever do. Isn't that right? I think you made this mistake once.
What do you mean, the rodeo?
Yeah, that time that you thought you were being really helpful.
There's a moment in the life of an RVer that you gotta sit back, open up your chair, crack a beer or a coffee, whatever you're doing, and just let people be. Because trust me, tried this before. I'm not gonna say in Mesa Verde, but I think it was.
You were in Mesa Verde? Well,
Yeah.
all I know is that you offered so nicely to this gentleman to help him back in his RV. Guys, you know you don't like that.
So listen, I'm from the trucking industry. We had these experiences happen before, so for me it was natural to just help the guy who's I can feel that he's struggling, and I'm thinking, okay, I used to have guys at the port that would actually ask us, can you turn my truck around, because they couldn't figure out how to turn. You know, they were taught to drive forward, they don't know how to back up. And because I've done this before, that's how I felt that day. I was just trying to be nice.
Not in an RV park. Listen, he's got a lot of people watching and he has a wife. And he does not want to look like he cannot back this thing in. So he looks at Pierre and he says, this ain't my first rodeo. Well,
Okay.
okay.
Learned my lesson. Went to sit back at my RV, sat down with my wife, and we laughed our ass off as he's backing up.
No, we didn't. We made paper plates and we sat down and we put scores on them. So when he was backing in, the first time he tried, he got a 3. The next time, oops, 2. And we just kept lifting our plates. I don't think he appreciated that. Don't try it. Money talk is another really touchy subject. I mean, walking up to somebody and saying, how much did you pay for that rig? Might not give you exactly what you want to hear.
So in a lot of RV shows, if you have an older salesperson, he's going to tell you, you know, we have some of those whistling gopher that come here on Wednesday before the show opens. So whistling gopher? What's a whistling gopher? Yeah, you know those people that come and say, hey, how much does that go for? Yeah.
Where'd the whistling come from?
Well, because I think it's under their breath, you know. Where does that come from? So they just wind shit up, and yeah, they want to know how much that go for, but they can't afford a can opener, but whatever. Money is a touchy thing. How much did you pay for your rig? How much was it worth? What was the market? It's really hard. It creates friction constantly about how much you pay. Basically what they're asking you is, I want to know how much you got screwed for.
And really the answer is, it's none of your damn business. That's what I'd say.
Here's another topic. You're not a real RVer if you don't boondock, if you don't go off-grid.
If you don't own a diesel pusher, if you're not full-time, if you don't do it most time. Is that true? Tell us in the comments below. How do you RV? Are you boondockers? Are you half-time, most time, full-time? Tell us in the comments below. But you're still an RVer, aren't you? RVing is what works for you. It's not anyone's description. What works for them is good for them. What works for you is good for you. Again, no one's business, but it's one of those topics that can be very touchy. This one stings a little bit, especially for us. Well, you live full time in that? That's not a real home. Why? Because it has wheels? Because I don't have a fence around my yard? Because I don't have the same view every day at Mrs. Kravitz across the street? We still have Mrs. Kravitz across the street a lot. You know Mrs. Kravitz, right? But we are real full-timers in our real home that's sitting right behind us.
And people who've been living in their RV for years, a lot of them will never trade it in anymore for a stick and brick. Listen, you like to mow your lawn and make pattern every Sunday morning by 10 o'clock, or it's fine. We've been there, done that. Do I care to have to maintain my pool? No. There's people maintaining the pool. I don't need to maintain the pool.
You don't even go in the pool.
So.
And when he goes to the pool, this is his swimsuit.
I go there for
T-shirt,
now.
shorts.
So when the post office opened, then I'll go in the post office. So I'll go with her for a couple of minutes. But yeah, for me, shake and bake in the sun. Back in the days, that was different. You wanted to look nice and awesome. Now I just feel that I look nice all the time, so I don't need to look awesome.
Oh, wait, I don't think I was supposed to laugh at that moment.
Okay.
Okay,
that was my moment.
We better go on to the next one.
Must be nice to be on vacation all the time, they say. It is. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, he's on vacation all the time.
All the time.
But let me tell you what I do. I'm inside. I'm working. There's lots of things that we have to do when we're living full time. We still have jobs. My job is never ending. You got the dishes, you got the laundry, you've got this, you got that, right? It's never ending.
So I do nothing. So I'm even considering starting to smoke cigar and drink scotch during the day because it's getting boring, you know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
I think so. I think I'm gonna catch on to that.
We should have a fire pit.
I got a couple of friends that do that, so maybe that's what I should do. But for now, we're not there. As you know, we do endorsement, we do workshop, we travel. We're kind of sort of busy. Waking up in the morning, it feels like you're on vacation. I'm sorry, but
no, what's nice is when you wake up in the morning and you open the shade because you can't remember where you parked it last night. Where are we? Oh, right now we're seeing saguaro cactuses. Oh, now we're seeing the pool and palm trees.
It's not always the same thing. Sometimes it's every 2 or 3 days, sometimes it's every 2 weeks, sometimes it's every month that we move. I get it. It's not for everybody. We understand that. We love being on vacation all the time. And by the way, most of the time, we live where you guys vacation.
So saying to someone out there in the RV park, wow, must be nice. Don't be surprised if steam rolls out of their ears. But speaking of workshops, so Pierre mentioned that we do workshops. Yes, we do. If you're considering becoming an RV inspector or you are already an RV inspector, go to our website. Check out our next upcoming workshops.
Have you ever thought about a career where you can protect buyers and be your own boss?
Consider becoming an RV inspector.
We can train you from the ground up.
Knowledge is power. We're giving you every detail to master your craft and elevate your business. Space is limited, so make sure to reach out. www.blueoxrvinspection.com. We'd love to hear from you. Come join our workshops. You know the saying, size does matter? Don't go up to somebody at an RV park and say, wow, I could never live in something that small.
Size doesn't matter. Whatever fits your needs is the important thing. Some people live outside, so they got smaller rigs, like we did when we started.
Yeah, we lived in what, 24 foot of space? It was a 29-foot Class C.
Yeah.
6 months we lived in that, but we found that we spent most time outside, even if it was cold, bundled up in a blanket, drinking our coffee. We visited more, actually.
Then we went to a fifth wheel. 30 some odd feet, almost 40 feet of fifth wheel. Now it became a home, a house. And then you realize that half the fifth wheel, you don't use it. Meaning, from the entry door to the front end, that's your bedroom and a bathroom, and that's it. So you actually have the rear end. So you still live in a 24-foot house. Think about it. Then we upgraded to a Class A, which I was just saying that to somebody yesterday. What I like about the Class A is the minute I get in, I got 2 couches right there, and I got 40 foot of living space that I go from back to forth. And that's a choice. I guess we just evolved to this. And for me, it's always been the truck inside of me, to be able to have my house in a solid diesel pusher and carrying my car around. So we did it all, from the tent to the travel trailer to the Class C to the 5th wheel to the Class A. Is it normal evolution? Yes and no. It's just our evolution, and we hope that you're able to experience and do the same thing in your own RV life.
And believe me, I lived in a huge sticks and bricks up in Vermont. I had, I don't know, 3,500, 4,000 square feet of living space. I never dreamed that I could become a minimalist. And now, even inside this Class A, shh, don't tell him, I probably could downsize a little bit more.
I got more shoes than she does, she says.
And that's true, he does. So don't complain about the shoes. Here's another one you should never say. You shouldn't have bought that. Wow, you should have bought such and such a brand or such and such a brand. Why didn't you get a diesel pusher? Oh, you should have got a Class A gas. No, you should have got a travel trailer or a 5th wheel. Nothing is going to piss off an RVer more than telling them what they should have purchased. It was their purchase.
It's exactly like a car. You got the Chevrolet people, you got the Ford people, you got the Dodge people. I dare you to go to your neighbor and say, what's wrong with you? Why'd you get a Dodge?
You should have got a Ford.
Holy geez, you want to start war? I hope there's a couple of sides between both you and them. So it's the same thing with an RV. I don't care which model, which brand, which manufacturer you bought. If you're happy with the floor plan, if you heard us say for years, the only thing that matters is the floor plan. That's it. I don't give a crap what frame you want to look at, Freightliner, Spartan, whatever you want. A travel trailer, a Grand Design, an Alliance. You want to pay a lot of money for stuff that is luxury? That's your call. I cannot see and understand why people say, why didn't you buy this? Oh, because you're so smart that you think that if you would have bought this, you'd be stuck like you with the same freaking problem that you're having? Is that why you're saying that? You got to be careful to not hurt people's feeling. They believed in what they said, they believed in what they looked at, and that's it. That's what sells.
And the beauty of it is that we're all living the RV lifestyle, whether it's weekenders, part-time, most time, or full-time. We're all out here enjoying the RV lifestyle. If you enjoy our videos, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe and leave us a comment. And if you don't know what to comment, put C4BO, comment for Blue Ox. So there you have it. Things you should never say to an RVer. Do you have some pet peeves? Please, in the comments below, we want to know, what's your pet peeves? What would really tick you off if someone walked up and said something to you at an RV park? One thing's for sure, make sure to pick up your dog poop. That's true, right?
Yeah.
It's the dog poop.
Yeah.
And God forbid you walk through somebody else's yard. Honestly, that wouldn't matter to Pierre and I. We don't care. You can walk through our yard.
I really don't care.
But pick up your dog shit.
That's it. If you walk through my yard to pick up your dog shit, hey, lift my hat to you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We do.
So remember, and do never forget, it's not about the destination.
It's all about the journey. And, you know, why are you picking your nose? Why you always pick your nose or your eyes when we're doing it? Hold on a second.
I don't dare say what I want to say. So remember, it's like the dog. It has nothing to do with the destination.
He doesn't even know how to say it anymore.
It's all about the journey. It has nothing to do about the destination.
He still can't say it. The grandkids say it better than you.
Yeah.
It's not about the destination.
I was just changing it.
Don't change it.
All right.
That's our slogan.
It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey.